I was waiting for you because I got to hit a button anyways. All right, good morning, everybody. Today is Daf Mem Beis in Mesachas Nazir. Morning. Tomorrow, Mr. Shem, we will learn here Mr. Shem at 7:10 after the first minyan, between 7:05 and 7:10. Fresh kites. And then there's davening sometime later, I guess you can find. So, all right, maybe I'll find the 8 o'clock meeting somewhere for people. Fine. We got to the Mishnah, yes? Mishnah Mem Beis. Yeah. All right, so now the Mishnah, and very short Mishnah. Nazir, Chayfev. And away we go. So Nazir, Chayfev, Umafasfeis, Avaloi Sarek. So in Nazir, he's allowed to go ahead and shampoo and move his hair around, but he can't go ahead and comb it out. Because by combing it out, he might be sort of removing hair. Isaac the Gemara, money. So it says that you can go ahead and do it. So there, you might incidentally knock some hairs out. So the money Rabbi Shimon is supposed to be calling Rabbi Shimon. The Amar Davar Shem is Kavi Motor says Davar Shem is Kavi Motor. Avaloi Sarek, but he says he can't comb. So Aslan Rabbanan, that seems to go like the Rabbanan. So Reisha Rabbi Shimon v'Sefer Rabbanan. So it must be that you can say that the Reisha is Rabbi Shimon who says Davar Shem is Kavi is Motor, and that's why you can go ahead and shampoo it. But the Sefer says he can't comb. It goes going to Rabbanan because Davar Shem is Kavi and is Alter. So I would have thought it would have given a teretz of Psik Reisha, but this does not. Going goes different direction. Amarabba Kula Rabbi Shimon usually Rabbi Shimon and Kalasarik Lahasi Nimin Amadulaz Mischavi. Right? That even one who goes ahead and when he combs his hair, he does want to remove hairs. He wants to go ahead and remove hairs that are hanging down. So therefore, it is considered to be Davar Shem is Kavi. And therefore, since it's Davar Shem is Kavi, that's the reason why it's asked to be Masarik, to go ahead and be. No, it's not Psik Reisha, because he's intending to do it, right? The Gemara didn't go there. It says, since he's intending to go ahead and remove the dangling hairs, so therefore, that's the reason why it's asked. Fine. Now, Mishnah says, Rabbi Yishmael Eimer lo yachuf ba'adama mipnei shemesharis esaseh. Rabbi Yishmael says one should not go ahead and I guess shampoo uses earth, right, to shampoo his hair. I guess that was sort of a cleansing because that goes ahead and removes the hair. Say, so is it because of that in general it does go ahead and that kind removes the hair, or is it the fact that does it in general do it, or there are certain kinds of dirt that go ahead and cause the hair to come out? So the my nafkamina, so what's the nafkamina? Because if you find a specific earth that doesn't go ahead and knock your hair out, so if it's because of this earth that caused it, right? So therefore, so therefore we know that it's not this specific one is not going to cause it. So therefore, it's okay. But it says that in general, since earth, right, which is used clumps of earth, it causes hair to come out. So therefore, then any type, even types that we know that won't cause the hair to come out during the shampooing, also cannot be used. And therefore, my answer is Teku. So the Gemara does not give a teretz to this case. Fine.
So
now,
Tachlis, if you're a Nazir and you go take a shower.
And what?
So you can shampoo.
Water, you can do
Yeah,
shampoo.
you can use shampoo, right? You can't comb it afterwards. Right. So Mishnah now comes the Mishnah of the day. Right, which is doesn't have a sponsor, the mission of the day, right? So Nazir Yain Kalayon, we actually saw this first part earlier. Eino Chayiv al Achas. Person gets warned in the morning, so he's only Chayiv once. So there's a couple of different ways to learn this. So we'll explain the fact that he has his warning in the morning, he drinks it, then any other further drinks, he's not being warned, right? So therefore, and those he's not chayiv for. So you're not chayiv alachas. Amr lo al tishta. If they tell him, hey, you can't go ahead and drink, and then you go drink l'shaisa. So every time you can't drink, then he drinks, and then Tamas later says you can't drink, you're chayiv, and he drinks, so on and so forth. Chayiv al kol achas v'achas. He will be chayiv for each and every cup of wine that he's had. Now, if the person was shaving the entire day, they told him, hey, you can't shave, and he shaves throughout the entire day, he's giving himself a haircut the entire day. He's only chayiv once. He told him, hey, you can't shave. Then he trims his beard with a 4. And then so he's chayiv for that. He says, or whatever, he shaves a little part of his head, right? And then he says, hey, you can't do that. Then he shaves another part of his head, another part. He's chayiv each every time. Now, here is the number one part of the Mishnah. Person's matami the mason the entire day, hanging out in the basic kvaros. He's only chayiv once. He say, hey, to him, do not become tamei. He goes into the basic kvaros. Then he leaves. A half hour later, don't go into the basic kvaros. He goes back in. Umatami chayiv al kol achas v'achas. He is chayiv for each and every time he enters or touches a mace. Is matami himself. Now.
Guy is stubborn.
So yeah, Itamar. So Amar Rabba, Amar Rav Huna, Mikra. So the pasuk over here says, Male Diber Hakasa, right? So it says a lot of there. If you look at the pasuk over there, it's all pasuk here in the front, right? So the pasuk says over there. Right. So it says the pasuk says here, I'm going to read the Pesuk in order. The Pesuk actually goes a little bit out of order. So the first Pesuk says, Kol yimei haziru la'Hashem al nefesh meis lo yavo. It says lo yavo in that case. And the next Pesuk says, Lo avi li'imo li'achiv la'chaiso, right, for his father, mother, brother, sister. Lo yitami lehem b'maisem, do not become tummy for them in their death. Ki nezer eloikav al roisha, because he's a nazir. So one Pesuk says lo yavo. The tuma. Next person says you can't lo yitame.
That's worse than Kohen Gadol.
So let's see. There's two different. So Itamar, Amar Huna Mikram, right? By base mitzvah. Only base mitzvah.
Highest restriction.
So Amar Amar Rabba Amar Rav Huna. So this is Rav Huna. So Ikra the Rakasa says lo yitame. It says can't go tame. Shoaimer lo yavo. But there's another pasuk. The pasuk Vav says lo yavo. So lahazira ala tuba lahazira ala bia. In other words, it's telling you that there's two different isurim. One is becoming tamei, and one is do not enter into a room or under an ohel that has a mace. So it seems to be two different restrictions, right? So there's azira tuma, azira abiyah. About tuma v'tuma, lo. But if one touches a mace, and then he leaves, comes back, touches a mace, he hasn't done anything. He doesn't anything new, right? In other words, so. Because if you look at our Mishnah, right, the Mishnah seems a little bit puzzling, right? Once you're tamei, right? So what's the big deal if you go ahead and do it again, right? So once it shouldn't become tamei, you become tamei. So hey, well, okay, so I'm tamei, right? What do you want from me? So why should there be an extra, sir? So according to Rav Huna, it seems to be that no, there's two different aspects. There's the aspect of bias coming into a ohel, and there's the other aspect of becoming tamei. Rav Yosef Amar Halukim, my goodness.
Touching the
Amar Rav Huna, afilu tuma v'tuma, even tuma v'tuma. Amar Rav Huna, nazir shaya oimi basic faras. So if a person was standing in basic faras, and then they handed him his mace or mesacher or another body, the nagabo, chayiv, he be chayiv for touching the additional body. I'm standing in the basic faras. He's already tamei. Right? It's like you jump in the pool. Once you're wet, you're wet. You're not going to get more wet, right? He's in the pool, right? Hamatam of the claim. Ella, Shmamina, it must be that Shmamina, Rav Huna, Afilo Tuma V'Tuma, even in the case of Tuma V'Tuma, even though it doesn't add, right, to the Tuma, nevertheless, you're chai for each and every time. So, in other words, it doesn't make a difference that either you're tamei, yes or no. It's an act of becoming tamei. In other words, once you do something that makes somebody tamei, that's what's forbidden. And if you do that act multiple times, you're chayiv each every time, even though it's not going to add to the amount of tuma you are, right? You're already tamei. You already got to go 7 days, right? So if I do it 4 times in the same day, and I'm warned every time, so therefore, you're chayiv for each and every time. So if you're in bed kvarot and you're being warned. So the first shot we had, there was 2 different isurim. One, you're in the basic forest. The other one's going in ohel. But over here, the second one is telling you, even if you're in a basic forest and you touch your body, I'm already tamei, so you're chayv each every time. Right. So it must be that each and every one, it doesn't make a difference. I'm already tamei. Doesn't make a difference. You're doing an act that causes one to become tamei, you're chayv for that act. So someone, a Kohen who had a mace and he was holding a dead body, Vayishidulei a mesa, then he had him another touch another body, meisacher v'nagabo, and he touches it. Yachli yechayev. You might think it's chayev. Tamaloi bar v'lo yichalel. This is by a kohen, right? So it says over there lo yichalel. Right? You should not go ahead and profane yourself and others become tamei, right? That comes to exclude somebody knows don't profane yourself. Mashma, someone who hasn't been profaned yet. That will exclude somebody who was already tamei. So over here we see that once you're tamei, there's nothing further, right? There's nothing. Once you're tamei, you're tamei. Over there we seem to say every single time. So Amalei, why don't you ask for our Mishnah? The Tanah, the Mishnah says, our Mishnah says by a Nazir who's Matami Lameisim the entire day. So he's in and out, he's only chayiv once because he was only warned once in the morning. If they warn him, don't go to the basic first, and he goes in, and then he goes out and he's told him, don't go to the basic first, he goes in again. He's chayiv every time. What do you mean? So why don't you ask the question from over here? Once you're tamei, you're tamei. Who cares if he enters and gets warned a million times? He was already tamei. He hasn't added anything. He was already mechulo. Ella kasha dadi. It's a contradiction. Loi kasha. No, it's not a contradiction. Kan b'chiburin, kan shlo yichiburin. There's actually different levels of two, well, as we know. But one of the levels is that if a person touches a body, okay, and then I go ahead and I touch someone else, right? So that person is only tamei ad erev. If I'm touching while I'm touching the body, I touch somebody else, he has 7 days. So there's two different cases. Even though I'm tamei the same. But I have the ability to even tamei someone more when I'm touching when I'm touching a mace. Therefore, I have the ability. So therefore, there are levels of tuma. So therefore, in the case of the Brisa over there, when he's saying basic faros, the reason why he's chayiv more is because once they hand him the body and he's touching the body, now I'm a higher level of tuma, right? So therefore, that's why you're chayiv, right? So therefore, but in the case of the Mishnah, right, is the case of in the let's say in the Mishnah, right, he becomes tamei. And then he stops. He warned him, do not become tamei. And then he becomes tamei, and he touches the dead body, and he touches someone again. So once he's touching the dead body, he's now putting himself in a position where he's more tamei, right? When I let go, I'm less tamei because I don't have the ability to make someone tamei for 7 days. Once I touch it, the body, even though standing myself, I'm already tamei for 7 days. But when I touch the mace, I now have the ability to make others tamei for 7 days. So therefore, if I put my hand on, and if I put my hand off, every time I'm doing another maisa of elevating my tuma. And it's not like I'm myself, but my ability, right? You're charging yourself, right? You know, always do that. The tuma chibur deraisa. I said deraisa. Yeah.
Ask one question.
Yeah.
Okay, nowadays though, there's no the mikvahs and
right. So there's no 7 days.
There's no 7 days.
Right. So but he still has the ability to become tamei, right? We don't have the paraduma. Right. So we don't have the paraduma now. So a person can't really become taller.
Last 7 days.
But we don't have kachim right now, so it's not as big deal, right? So since we don't have kachim and all that, so therefore, it's not as right.
You don't have any theory.
Right. So Gor says now, I'm tuba chibur deraisa. Well, it's deraisa. Now you're making two against the deraisa. The only aspect we said by tuma chiburin is when it comes to truma kachim. Now it's for people to eat it. Aval nazir by sepasach lo. But a nazir and a person who's part of Pesach, right? There is no difference by tumas chiburin if he's touched by someone else who's touching a corpse. Via Marta deraisa, and if you say it's a deraisa halacha, maishna, why should there be a difference, right? So the Gemara says you're right. Zakan mechiburi adam be adam. One is the case of where, in the case when and over here when Rabbi Yana is saying the tuba chiburin, that is when he's touching a person who's touching another person touching a corpse, right? So therefore it's 2 levels away. That is derabban. And kan b'chiburi adam b'meis. Over here is when he touches someone who's touching a mace. In the case of touching someone who's touching a mace, that's the deraisa. The touching somebody who's touching a mace. Therefore, that's the case of derabban. That's the case. That's the chiluk between truma kachim and nazir and isa pesach. About tuma low, but just regular tuma no. The ha mitami v'kain, right? Understand? So going back to our case, we said in a Mishnah or at the top of the page, right? We explained that one can be chayiv twice for touching a corpse and then entering because there is an issue of lo yitame and there's an issue of lo yabo, right? So it sounds like about tuma of a tuma low, but if it's just tuma of a tuma, and I was, let's say I touch a corpse, so it would not be da mitame v'kaim. Right? So because he's already tummy, I tuma b'yanami hamatami v'koyim. I understand. So why should there be any chilik in that case? Both cases, I'm already tummy. So why should it make a difference if I touch a corpse and then I enter under an ohel? I'm already tummy. So Rabbi Yechanan kan b'bayis kan b'sada. One is in a case of a house, right? In a case of a house, the reason why you're chayiv two is because both of them happen simultaneously. I become tummy and I'm entering under an ohel. Right, and Kambasada, the case of the field is I will go ahead and let's say I touch two mace in the field, right? So therefore it's the same Isser. So the same Isser, therefore it doesn't add. That's only one case. That's the case of one. But the case of two is I enter into a bias and therefore I get both the Tuma and the Ohel at the same time. So the Gemara says, I bias nami, given the oil yadi, kule, hi tamiyu. Once I go ahead and I stick my hand in, right, or before I enter, right, I'm walking in, my toes go in, my foot goes in, right? So then he becomes tummy, right? And once his whole body comes in, right? So why should I do anything, right? It's not both happening at the same time. One is becoming tummy, and then the only afterwards is he's underneath OL. So right? So it's not happening simultaneously. So there. So tzira if yada mishum tuma ika mishum bialeka. You're right. In a case of where the hand goes in first, he becomes tame, but he hasn't entered into the room yet. However, leka, but tzira if goof leka. So it says, however, if it's tzira if gufo, right? Tuma because but let's say he doesn't, he doesn't put his hands in. He makes sure he goes in his head first. So then they come simultaneously. The Gemara says, "I also but his nose goes in first." Hello, Amarava, you're right. Right? If he just puts his hand in or his nose in or something like that, his body part, then he's tamei, but he hasn't entered yet. However, hichnis gufo, but let's say he turns around and he goes in. Tuma ubiyah ba'adadadi. Him becoming tamei, him entering happens simultaneously. Kasin. Right, there's some part of him that's coming in first before his entire body, so he is tummy before he enters. Let's say he enters in some sort of box or cupboard or something like that. He's in a box. He's not tame. And his very good friend. Thank you so much, friend. Right, and then he basically cuts open the bottom of the box. The guy falls out of the box, and simultaneously, because he's already in the room, simultaneously he becomes tame, and he enters into this room, and therefore that's the way he bechayiv twice. Right, but they come together. And my Ravashi similarly could go into ayil kshu gaises, right? That he goes in when it was somebody when he was very he was dying. Right, and he was there. The Nazir was in there while the person, was dying or he died. And since he died while he was in the room with the guy who was a guy, so therefore, in that case, he's both entered and become tummy at the same time. Therefore, he would be chayiv twice. We'll stop here at the Tanur Rabbanan.